why a clear structure in your project management allows you to get your funnels up fast. You see, this is an interesting problem. If you're new to business, you might have been enticed by a lot of the marketing. It's like, hey, get your funnels done, sell more. They're required to make your business work. If you want more leads, if you want more sales, you're going to need funnels. And if you get your funnel up and you're still not getting results, then probably you've got a traffic problem. So you're going to need to traffic as well. But what's not clear in this is just what it takes to successfully get a funnel up and running. I'm building a new funnel at the moment. My team's working on it with me. And my desire is to make sure that I'm working on my highest value work, that I'm not coding back ends in ClickFunnels or in Kajabi, that I'm not linking tags together, but rather I'm working on the stuff that I'm good at, writing the copy. And I'm building that out in the back end using, of all things, Google Docs. But what is making a clear difference, that's significantly reducing the amount of time to get the funnel up, that makes it clear to see all of the dependencies and all of the work yet to be done, is a clear structure in project management. Now, what's interesting is I have very little idea about this for many years. In fact, only when I started working extensively on systems did the requirement for documentation for all of the small little steps become clear. You see, details matter. And if your project management system or your way that you structure your project management just kind of has most of the parts or some of the parts instead of all of the parts, then you are going to struggle as the completion of your funnel becomes a reality. You're like, oh wow, we should test this. And in testing, suddenly details that should have been taken care by your project management structure become apparent. It's like, oh, we haven't got a form. Someone forgot to put a form onto the opt-in page, or, well, where's this form meant to go that doesn't link to the next page? Or, hey, this button doesn't go anywhere, it's got a hashtag, so it just takes you to the same page. Or, hey, the deadline software doesn't integrate with the sales page. Why haven't we thought of this? Or even more simply, hey, if we have a Google Doc that's got the copy for a page, then we also need not only the front end, but also the link to the back end. Where is it held in the software? For every page in the funnel. And suddenly you start to get a feel for just how many moving parts there are, even in a relatively simple funnel. And what this has taught me is to be very cautious about the complexity of a funnel. You see, you can do complex funnels when you have mastered the simple. And mastering the simple takes reps as you learn all of the parts that must be documented in that project management structure. And once you get that structure dialed in, when you go and create a new funnel or your next funnel or a variation on a funnel, guess what? It's just a very simple process to duplicate that structure that's existing. But up until that point where you can clearly move and have every part documented so that you are on point with the details, then stay away from complex funnels. Sure, they might be relatively easy to build in your software predictability software, like the software like Giru. Go and check that out, Geru, and you can just drag pages around super easy and then you run it, but it doesn't allow you to recognize how many hours have to go in for each of those little pages. When you drag in a new opt-in page, when you drag in a new content page, when you drag in a sales page and an offer page and a retargeting ad and a new traffic source and an email sequence, each of those is hours of work. And while in the planning software, it's seconds of work. It's all hours of work of actually making it happen. Now, is there value in this software? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no doubt that being clear on what's going to happen is critically important. But what I want to caution you against is getting too fancy, getting too many variables, because when you go and apply those to the real world and actually make it happen so that somebody can opt in and somebody can buy, and there's actual ads and there's retargeting campaigns running, that you know how to do that. Why? Because you practiced on the simple. And you practice on the simple by getting it right. And every time you remembered another detail, you documented, and slowly you built out your project software, your project structure, so that all of these were on point. And next funnel you got better, and next funnel you got better. This is critical to understand, because otherwise you are going to be stuck running funnels that take 3 months to get up, 4 months to get up, and like you get to run a whole 3 different variations of one funnel per year because you're just too slow in terms of getting them to work, even with software like ClickFunnels. This is important to consider, that the back-end operations are going to determine how quickly you can run another test. And when you run another test, that gives you a better chance to compare against what's working versus what's not working, which at the end of the day leads to one thing, which is your business profitability. Your ability to get your teams to work together and deploy quickly will come down to a ability for you to have structures in your project management that work, and documentation of how to do the work so that you can scale your business. What you're going to find is that most likely you are running way slower than you are capable of, but you don't even know it. You think you're working at 100%, but the problem lies in how you structure the back end of your project management. And when you don't have this on point, suddenly your team are coming to you to ask your questions. They cannot operate quickly. They cannot see what needs to be done. It's all hidden. You are not working on a Toyota manufacturing line where it's very clear where the problems are. It's like, hey, that machine there, the 7th machine, is backlog and everything. How can we resolve that backlog? How can we make it faster? Do we need 2 variants of that one? Let's get that and stop it being the backlog. What's the targets? All of this is blind in your business because of 2 things. Number 1, you don't know how to structure your project management. And number 2, you have no documentation for what needs to be done. Get these on point, and suddenly you can double, triple, even quadruple the productivity of your existing teams. And this will open up a problem that perhaps you don't even want to deal with, which is going to have to fire people because your current team is getting so much done. Or if you don't want to do that, guess what? Then you got to step up and go, you know what? We're going to expand. We're going to sell more. We're going to operate at 4x speed. Not because your team is suddenly becoming superhuman. It's just that you got the structure right. And suddenly you are having productivity that works. Your team can stay operational and getting work done for more time during the day for the same amount of money that you are paying them. You can run more tests. You can optimize for more funnels, for more ads. And this will give you a significant advantage in your marketplace, allowing you to become the only choice in your particular sub-niche. And off you go. Suddenly, you are experiencing the business success that you've always wanted. All right, that's all I got for you today. You've got to work this out. You've got to get a structure that works. Let me give you the one clue out of today's episode, and that is that details matter. Details matter. Document the details so that you can have the productivity that you know that your team should be at, or in fact you don't know that your team should be at, but they are 100% capable of those increased rates of productivity when you get that on point. If you want some help with it, head over to systemio.dev. Thanks for tuning in today as we continue this journey into the power of systems to create results. I'll see you tomorrow for the next episode.